Let's bring back Steve Forbes and the great Katie Pavlich, editor at townhall.com and Fox News contributor, and Joe Concha, also Fox News contributor, author of The Greatest Comeback Ever. He's talking about Mr. Trump. I'm going to Katie. This is really a Forbes thing, but I'm going to Katie on it. Papa Bush took out, what was his name? Manuel Noriega. I believe it was 1989, because he was acting up and he was a dictator and he was a drug lord, and Lord knows Bush went in there and Noriega was gone in about 23 minutes and 14 seconds, never to be heard from again. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like that right now.
Yeah, it's laughable that the Panamanian president is saying that they're not going to talk about it. They will be talking about it, and they're actually obligated to talk about it because of the treaties that Panama signed with the United States in the 1970s about this exact issue. Trump, rightly, is very concerned about the neutrality of the canal. You talk to people, China's taking down a lot of their signs, trying to avoid this. You talk to people who live or a family there, and China's trying to buy up a lot of the real estate on the canal, in addition to the ports that are dealing with the shipping. And if you look at the treaties that they signed, it says specifically that the United States reserves the right to invoke military force should the neutrality be threatened.
I didn't know that. The treaty says that?
The treaty says that. And it doesn't say it has to be turned over. It doesn't say another country has to take over the canal. It says should the neutrality be threatened, the United States reserves the right to invoke military force to ensure neutrality stays.
Joe Concha,
so he's on strong footing here when it comes to what he's trying to do.
I don't want to sound like a war hawk, but gee whiz, what Katie just said, I got a chill down my spine right there. And after all, this was, it's a little unfair, but Papa Bush, one of his finest moments, and it sure straightened out the Panama story. So let's straighten it out again, huh?
Can I rewind for a second? Are you saying we should storm the beaches of Panama with the U.S. military?
We should storm the locks of Panama Canal.
Right, okay. But you're not actually advocating for military force.
I might. I mean, if they're not willing to do it, then that's the right we have.
Did you hear what? And you
know, I heard it.
Never negate Katie Pavlich. Never, ever. That is my experience, lo these many years.
It's a bylaw in the building, actually. We know this. This is true. This is Katie Pavlich. We're talking about her.
The treaty. Back to the treaty.
Yeah. It's the same thing with Greenland, right? You got all these raw minerals. 95% of Greenland's exports are obviously, they're subsidized basically by the Danish government at this point. So here's all you have to do, right? For $57 million, don't call it bribery, call it incentive. All right, 57,000 residents, offer them $1 million each, say, this is yours. And oh, by the way, you can enrich yourself with all the oil, gas, and minerals that we're going to mine here if you decide
give them a
to vote for
percentage.
independence.
Yeah. It's like Alaska, by the way.
A percentage and $1 million,
I like that. No, I think that's pretty good. But what do you think about this? You're a foreign policy guy, among other things.
Oh, on Panama, no, there's going to be no military action necessary. The president actually is pro-American. I think
is he?
Oh, yeah.
Why does he say these snippety things?
Because Panama is intensely nationalistic about how the whole thing was created. That's why he had real riots in the 1960s, tons of people killed. And so, he's got to play to his base, democracy. But what I think is going to happen is the Chinese are going to be forced out, both at either ends of the canal. Real estate, going to be some great bargains coming up of land sales. And as for Greenland, if you really want Greenland, have them go independent and then make them the 51st state. And that way they get all this federal aid, and the Democrats should like it because they get an extra member of the House of Representatives, a couple of senators. But that way you have a bigger landmass than any of the U.S. purchases, the Louisiana purchase, Alaska purchase. This is the biggest yet. That should appeal to Trump and the idea of getting an extra senator or two in the Senate. So make them a state. That way, they know we're going to defend them. And that way, Russia and China knows we're obligated to defend them like we have to defend Alaska.
I wouldn't mind starting in Panama, though. I love what Katie has to say. Absolutely love that. Katie, speaking of Katie, pretty good week for Trump's noms. Looks like it. Don't know if you have any. Pretty bad week for Democrats. The Democrats, in my view, are now unhinged. They're freaking out. And their heads are spinning 360 one way, and then they spin back 360. It's like an old cartoon figure. They don't know what to do. All they can do is talk about J6 or the 2020 election or sexual allegations.
Yeah.
And I mean, pretty much the Trump crowd's having its way, is it not?
Well, they've exhausted their arsenal of attack lines that they can use against the president. And if you look at the cabinet that Joe Biden put together and compare the nominees that Donald Trump wants, when you have people saying, this person's not qualified, well, it's very easy to compare and contrast the differences between the qualifications of the previous cabinet and the current one. And the current one is much better. Not to mention, I think Democrats are pretty salty that you have two former Democrats who are now up to be in major positions.
I think that bothers them, that point.
I think it bothers them the most. And that's why you saw the grillings of RFK Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard come to a head by Democrats, because they see them as traitors to their cause, not just because they were on the campaign trail, but now because they want to work for the president.
Joe Concha, unhinged Democrats. Here's Trump. He's polling 50 plus. His popularity, his approval, 50 plus.
Which he's never been at before.
Right. It's really big stuff. Democrats are, I don't know, so they're in the mid to low 30s or some such thing like that. I mean, the tide has turned, and I think all the noms are going to get through. I don't know about Tulsi Gabbard. Kash Patel's going to get through. They couldn't lay a glove on him, and I think they were grinding their teeth because they couldn't lay a glove on him.
He was the most impressive since Pete Hegseth, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, he's going to get through, and he was seen as the most vulnerable target.
Yeah.
To your point earlier, Quinnipiac had a poll out earlier this week, 31% approval for Democrats right now. It's the lowest ever since Quinnipiac's been asking the question. Republicans are at their highest approval ever. Overall, there was a conference yesterday hosted by MSNBC in Washington. And I swear to God, Jonathan Capehart had asked this question: do you believe that Kamala Harris lost because of racism and misogyny? And every single candidate for the DNC chair raised their hand. It's all they have at this point, because they can't talk policy because they're on the wrong side of everything when it comes to inflation, the border, crime, war, censorship, you name it. The Democratic Party is broken right now, and they don't have a leader, which is more important.
They're also seen as uncool.
Uncool.
Well, they are uncool.
Which is a
Just
problem.
take a look at them. But Steve Forbes, we've seen cycles before. Why can't the Democrats come out? I mean, for example, there have been in history tax-cutting Democrats, or...
You wrote a book on one.
I did indeed. Deregulating Democrats. Right, I mean, deregulating Democrats. Jimmy Carter, for all of his flaws, the Panama Canal, he was a deregulator.
And he advocated zero-based budgeting.
Yeah, we had capital gains tax. I mean, I don't know what's stopping these Democrats. We don't have much time.
Well, they're afraid of their far left still. They're afraid of primaries. You need one or two more election cycles before they realize their playbook is dead.
It's going to take that long.
They're afraid.
One or two elections. I mean, look, I'm cool with it as far as I can tell.
This is what they're counting on. They're counting on things are going to go wrong. They'll do well in the midterms, get control of the House and the Senate, because we have a lot of seats coming up in 2026. And in 2028, they'll take it all back. And so that's what they're counting on. So once that fantasy goes by the board, especially if we do well in the midterms, that's going to shock them.
Good luck taking on J.D. Vance in 2028. You want that fight?
Telling you,
go right ahead.
I think the Democrats are just pathetic.
Yeah,
I mean, I know that sounds partisan.
They have to be beaten over the head a few times more.
Well, maybe they haven't hit bottom yet. Maybe that's true.
Well, they're close. They're close to the bottom. Maybe they'll get there.
They'll get a 12-step program. Steve Forbes, Katie Pavlich, Joe Concha, thank you ever so much.